GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello everybody, welcome back traders. You know what time it is, another weekly analysis video looking at this week's high probability trade setups. Welcome back to another week. My name is Dima. As ever, let's go through the charts. Hope you had a good trading week last week and made use of the opportunities we looked at. Let's see what we've got this week in the markets. We are at the beginning of the final week of the year. Typically, we have a little bit of a slowdown as we come to the holidays. Let's see how the market plays out. And we're still going to look at some high probability opportunities this week. Let's pick out the ones that look interesting. Okay, drop down a comment below. Tell me how you've been getting on. Share with me any insights, any trade setups, anything that you have questions on. And let's look at that together as well. If you want to have some analysis and some help, let's have a look at this week. As ever, let's start with the economic calendar and see what's going on for this week. Right. This is what we've got for this week in terms of news. Monday, we've got a speech on the euro, we've got retail sales, we've got ISM PMI numbers on the dollar. Then Tuesday, we've got retail sales on the pound, and then we have a big one on Aussie dollar from Australia, the rate announcement. Then we've got a balance and trade on the CAD, balance of trade on the dollar. Wednesday, we have GDP figures on Aussie, and we have unemployment rate from Switzerland, employment change in euro, and then another big one from Canada, the rate there. So CAD will be one to look out for, and Aussie will be one to look out for. On Thursday, we've got a speech on the euro, another euro announcement, and then on the dollar jobless claims, and then yet again, two speeches in one day actually on the euro. So watch out for that one. A little bit unusual. And on Friday, PPI numbers on the dollar. Looking at it as a whole, what can we see? We've got a lot of euro announcements. We've got Aussie and we've got CAD. Those are the main ones for the week. Right, let's get going with the charts. We'll review a little bit of last week and look at what we got this week. Okay, all right, ready? Let me take my sip of water, clear my throat, and let's get started. Okay, let's begin with the major ones as we always do. Let's start and look at the euro. Euro we looked at already as a push from these levels. We had that last week, was a continuation of the previous week, and we went higher still. Looking on the weekly, we've made this major retracement, major push up, and now we're coming up to these levels that I was looking at in terms of a target, and as we reach those levels we may get a retracement back down. Remembering that we had a bullish, very bullish monthly candle last month. So if I just remove that part, you can see that we have now breached the high of last month, and we may get a retracement after a large move. The market usually does a retracement as we have a bit of a profit taking in the market. So let's see if we have that profit take point, a little reversal when as we reach this level up here. And what would that need to look like? Well, for that to be the case, what I'll be looking for is I'll be looking for levels to be breached and structure in the market to be breached for there to be a proper retracement. Now, what that would have to look like is I would be looking at a breach of this level down here, if that reversal is the case, and then looking for a better price to then trade lower, and lower will be back down into this level here and possibly this level down here. Now, seeing as we are in a very bullish environment, we've got very bearish dollar and bullish currencies against the dollar. I'm not going to really look at this as a very long-term trade, very high probability trade. It may be shorter than usual, and it also may lower the risk on this one because we're going against the trend, we're bucking the trend at the moment. So we'll have to see a very clear reversal in this sort of area right here. Nice push to the downside, and then a continuation lower. If that's going to be the case, if we see a bit of bullish momentum come into the dollar and bearishness in the euro. Right now, very early days, that's not going to be the case. So the opposite of that, the flip side, the other possibility is that we continue to the upside. And if we do continue with big bullish momentum to the upside and then get a retracement, then I'll be looking for those higher prices and the continuation of the trend at the moment, which is to the upside on the euro. So considering both at the moment as we stand until we see further information, further price action as we go through the week, and we've got those news items coming in. Let's see how they play out and whether there's any effect, whether that is reflected in the chart, right? So that's the euro. Let's have a look at the next one. Next one I'm going to look at is euro pound. Looking at the weekly, we did see last week, as expected, continuation of the bearishness coming down into this level. The next level I'll be interested, it will be down here. And you can see that last week closed bearish as well. So continued weakness on the euro pound. And here was that level that we moved away from just as we were looking for without breaching the high there. So the next level I'm interested in is down here. This is what I'm now looking at. If you'd like to draw a fib, here's the major high, here's the low, and you can see 61 and 78 levels here. And now I'll be interested in this high not being breached, and a reaction from this level down to the next area at here at about 80.852, around about there. And we have an extension of the fib here as well. So 0.852, I'll be looking at that as a target. If there is indeed some kind of price action reversal, just like we had here, and move lower, bearish candles and weakness, more weakness. At the moment, we're having a bounce off this level. You can see these wicks. So we are going into a range, a bit of a retracement phase here. And then this is where we are at the moment. So let's wait for a bit. Again, we've got euro news, pound news as well. Let's see how it plays out, and if we get some kind of slowdown and then a move lower, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Right. That's euro pound. Let's now look at another pound pair. We've got pound Swiss. Pound Swiss, looking at bullishness last week, continuation bullishness of this swing, and we had that week closed bullish, continued to go higher. Now gonna look for simply a continuation of the previous week. We've got higher week, and then going to jump into that momentum to go to this high over here. That was the level that was interesting. And we can see we haven't quite reached that yet. We missed it. We've not hit it yet. And in fact, if I just draw a bit more accurately with this high right here, that's where it is, 1.158. Let's say that. So here we go. Here was that last week. We had this reaction of this level. So we can get rid of this now, get rid of this now as well. Get rid of this, just clean up the chart a little bit. And now what I'm looking for to go into that expected level would be a retracement. Now we had this retracement over here into this level. So now I'm interested in the current retracement we're in right now. If there is a nice push away from where we are here, see some nice price action, some sort of something like this. That's what I'll be looking at with a nice reaction. If we bridge this low down here, then I'm going to leave this aside, because from last time I'm expecting higher highs. That's the idea on pound Swiss here. Continuation of the bullish momentum. Hope that's all clear and you're with me. Let's move on to the next pair, another minor pair we've got here. Let's look at Euro New Zealand. This is one we've looked at before, and we're going to look at it again. So what you can see, pound New Zealand, weakness, 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 very bearish week last week, left this wick to the top side, closed super bearish, and I'm going to look for a continuation of that bearishness to the next low, which is the low over here, which sticks out. Let's have a look on the lower time frame. Last week, right on Monday, we had the retracement and a big drop. So where next? Here's the high. I can see that sticks out clearly. If you want to draw a fib once again, here's that 61.8. Here's the 78. So here's that zone. So remove the fib. So a reaction from there, from here, continuing to the downside. Should be a nice risk to reward idea. We've got about, what have we got? 200 or about 250 pips away, which is quite significant. So again, a nice reaction off the zone, of the level here, and then continuing to the downside. That's what I'm looking at for Euro New Zealand. You can see that bearishness. At the moment, it's quite clear. Okay, next pair. Let's have a look at CAD Yen now. CAD Yen, we do have CAD News, was one of the major ones. Looking at what we got this week, well, what I can see is we had breaks of structures. We went lower, lower, lower. We had this very bearish week to the downside last week. And obviously with that sign, with all these signs, I'm looking at this being a top and then this being now a continuation to the downside. Where's the downside? Well, the next obvious level is down here, this swing low. So now I'm looking at this as the next target for the week. Let's see if we get there. Either case, first of all, our task is to find an entry, find something interesting. So here's a high here, and here we've got a low, and I'll be looking at a nice retracement to the upside. As usual, nice better price, nice better, a more expensive place to short from. Don't want to be selling it down here. It's still cheap relative to where we are at the moment, and riskier. Here would be a nice, better risk to reward idea. We've got a very healthy 380 pips away from this zone, but of course want to see a reversal or some kind of price action. Let's see what happens with the CAD News and whether we get that. If we don't, then just delete this for a moment. If we don't, then I'll be looking at this high. If we breach this high, then obviously this idea is invalidated, no longer interested, and we're now possibly going higher. Who knows? I would leave this alone after that if that is the case. Okay, that's the idea on the CAD Yen. At the moment, we're in that retracement phase, so wanting to get a better price first of all. Yeah. Next, let's go to oil. This has also been one that we've been watching for a while. We're in this deep retracement phase. I was looking at the reversal idea within this zone, this very large monthly zone. You can see here on the monthly time frame, there's the high, there's the low. I drew the fib. I can delete that now. And we had this retracement on the monthly. Looking at the weekly, last week we had this bullish engulfing candle. So let's just remove and clean up the chart for a minute just to clear things up. Let's see where we're at so I can look at the chart clearly. Here is that bullish candle. So there's a possible reversal now, and we are possibly heading back up to the upside from here. Keeping that idea in mind, I can see the low is the high, and once again a deeper retracement would be down here. Let's remove the fib. That will be in fact what I'll be looking at, a retracement, something to happen in this zone, and then a move higher to the upside, breaking previous highs, previous structures, and targeting the next obvious levels, which you can see here by these structures that stick out. So some kind of idea, some kind of price action here, slow down, and then reversal, pullback, and then continuing to the upside, like so, something like that. I've got this area down here. That's also interesting. I would much prefer this much lower area down here, because that is the much cheaper price and much better risk to reward trade there. Let me just put a quick label for you. So there's one idea is here, and then another one would be down here, and then the targets would be first there and then up here. Okay, so these are the reference points for you to bear in mind, and that is the idea on oil. The little hint here is that we have broken the previous structure here and here. We just pipped above it, and now let's see if we can get that continuation push to the upside. Let's see what happens during the week. So that's oil for you. Finally, let's go to the S&P. Looking on the weekly, what I was looking at is this significant high up here, not to be broken. Always looking for the reference points. We are in a very deep retracement, as you can see, and now the possibility of a reversal is getting higher and higher. The probabilities are stacking in our favor. As long as we don't break this high and we hold the area where we're at, then I'll be looking for that continuation to the downside. Looking on the 4 hour, I was looking for that push higher rather than the push lower, and then a reversal forming. So we didn't have that move lower. Let me just remove this. We had the push higher. That was the scenario. So now that we have had that, what I'll be looking for next is a breakdown, and the breakdown will be a break of low. And once we get that break of the low, likely we'll be breaking lows here as well, getting a better price, retracement, and then move to the downside to these lows as targets that we were looking at previously. This major lows down here, don't have to add all of them, just for simplicity. One here and the extreme one at the low right here if we're going to break new lows. You can see the little clue last week. We had left this week to the top side, so we're getting a bit of a slowdown. Looking on the daily, we had a very bullish momentum and then 2 very slow days there last week after that. Okay, that was the NFP week last week as well, right? So that was where this really bullish move came out from. That's the S&P. Too early to tell right at the moment. If anything, looking on the 4-hour, this may be a swing low, and we may have a little bit more bullishness come in. Let's see. At the moment, this is a bit of a range, not very clear where we're going from here. Let's wait for the market to tell us. So far, I can see we've had this momentum to the upside, but we've not followed through with that just yet. We've had this retracement, not going through yet. And if we don't follow through and we get a breakdown or a range, then we are going to follow this plan we've got here to the downside when we see that happen. At the moment, it's too early to tell, so put your hands under your thighs and sit on your hands and wait for the market to tell you what it's going to do. Wait for it to come to you. All right. Okay, those are the charts for this week and the economic calendar. Manage your risk as always, like we say, and look after your account. Take the high probability setups and watch out for the price action this week. See how it plays out. Hope you have a good trading week, everyone. My name's Dima. See you next week for some more high probability trade opportunities. Thank you for being here, and bye for now. Hope you enjoyed this one. Comment down below as ever. If you've got any questions on any of the charts, anything specific, it helps if you mark up your chart as well and post a link to your screenshot, and then we can review that together. If you've got any questions or doubts or questions about what you're looking at about the setup. Right. See you next week, guys. Hope you have a good trading week. All right. Talk to you soon.